Good mythical morning, all of you out there. So, one and only notorious, glorious, the gorilla economist coming to you live with my main man, the Algo Cowboy himself, working the algorithmic waves and making sure the trades are being executed with perfection and precision. And if you don't know, you better ask somebody, folks. Look, don't hesitate. Don't procrastinate, hesitate, play a participate, join AlgoFactory.tech. AlgoFactory.tech. Because if you don't join AlgoFactory.tech, you're leaving money on the table. You're leaving money on the table. You're saying, you know what? A better income, a better quality of life, more free time with my family. I don't need that. I don't deserve that. It's too hard. No. You grind it out here with us and allow us to help you. Your life will never be the same, my friend. Your life and your bank account will never be the same. With that being said, Cowboy, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, man. Yeah, it's Friday. We just had non-farm payrolls come out. And so there is some data
You're cutting out. I don't know if that's
Am I cutting out? I'm cutting out? I think it might be you.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's me or... It could be
I think
me.
It's you.
Maybe it is me.
Let's ask the crowd here real quick.
Don't worry about it. Just keep going.
Yeah, well, we'll make sure here.
Let us ask the community.
Let's ask community. Let's see here. How's my sound? Question mark. If we got to restart, we'll restart. But I think, okay, good to go, says Cool Cat. So your sound, you are apparently the issue.
It was me.
Okay.
Hey, man.
It's always you.
Put it like that.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Always you. So yeah, it's
issues.
Non-farm payroll change among other data come out this morning. So that's pushing markets around a little bit. It's going to add volatility for those who are day trading, for those who are taking the quick trades. This was a pretty low volatility week, though, I think, because the 4th was on a Tuesday. I think a lot of people took the whole week off. It's kind of what it feels like. There's just not a lot of action in the market. Although, there are trades to be made. I mean, I did a few scalps and things like that. Especially when the data comes out, you can, if you play that right, and we do talk about how to play that right quite often on this channel. But when you play that right, you can make some money at that. Even in the slow times, the data comes out, you just, know what to do there. And if you want to know how to do all that, then what I've done is I've put on the screen, actually I'm going to, is put on a QR code. So if you're watching and you're like looking on the screen and you have your phone, you can zap that QR code. And then I will shortly put up the comments. If I can find the comments, hold on a second. I've hit a button on my screen where I can't find the comments. Give me just a moment. There it is. Got to go to the chat. Okay, so I do know that we're live on YouTube, so I don't know if, we got at least one person watching. Quiet morning. However, I will put also the URL for those who are not able to zap this QR code with their phone, and that's www.algofactory.tech. And for those who might be seeing this type of video for the first time, understand that what we do is we help people build, basically it's just trading methodologies. Don't get scared off by the term algorithm. Anybody who trades successfully, even if they're doing it manually, even if it's not an auto trader, they are using an algorithm, whether they know it or not. And so we help people build it generally manually. And then we have people who can help you hard code that once you know it's successful. So now a lot of people, what they want to do is they want to build something and start with code. And then they want to test that. Now, here's the thing about that. If you're a coder, that's great. We can point you, we can tell you how to do that. But if you're not a coder, then what you're going to have to do is, as you're building, you're going to have to pay a coder to build it. And then you're not going to know it's successful until it's already built. And then if it's not successful, then you have to pay a coder again. So it does help to go through the manual process for at least part of the deal so that you can have something is profitable before you go and pay a coder, 4 figures to go do it. And of course, most coders are going to charge a certain level of 4 figures. Our coder is at a fraction of that cost, and we do give access through Algo Factory. Okay. So anyway, that's the great part. Once you're at that level, if you have something profitable, you can basically walk away. Once you've tested this thing, that it has a high degree of statistical success, right? A high degree of probability of success. Over a period of time of testing that it's going to say, make you this much money per trade on average. And when you have that data and you've done the work, you can just have that thing, you can hit play and walk away. And as long as you kind of watch it and that the market, what's the term? The market conditions are proper for your algorithm, then you can just let it go. I've worked with coded algorithms. I've actually traded using them. I've helped to design them before. And generally, you kind of have to know the background conditions of the market to know whether or not you want it to be turned off or turned on. And then over time, you can refine that to sort of solve its own problem. But we're getting into the weeds. So that's what we do. And I have the URL on the screen right now. So let me go ahead and spread this link out just a little bit. Of course, if anybody has any questions or any charts that they want to see, feel free to ask. I got 2020 Cool Cat, Valley Girl, and Gigi in on the private group. Good morning to you all. And actually, we have a lot more than that, but those are the ones who are being vocal. So let me go ahead and post this link while we listen to our very chill music. Let's go to my own. Okay, so I'm just posting it on our Discord. Come join us live for free. Assessoin. I'm trying to spell session. Assessoin.
Oh, good, man.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the data that just came out, and we'll take a look at the charts as well. Let's see here. Got to share my screen. Share my screen. Is that? There it is. I'm actually going to sit back in my chair here. Okay. So I think the biggest effect is going to be the non-farm employment change. Employment rate actually didn't go anywhere meaning it was as expected. So you can see this 3.6% on the right is the forecast, on the left is the non-farm employment change. That was lower than expected. So basically it means people lost jobs, which is supposed to be bullish for the dollar. I'm sorry, bearish for the dollar. Okay, so that's a sign that the economy is having problems. And if the economy is having problems, then the wisdom, quote unquote, is that Powell has a higher chance of dropping rates sooner. So it's going to push the dollar down a little bit and other assets up. Average hourly earnings going up is going to be a counterweight to that, right? So if hourly earnings are going up month over month, so this is compared to last month, this happens once a month, this data, that would be a sign of strength, which would think that rates are going to stay high or go up. So that it's a lot of mixed data this morning, but I think the bigger data that mattered this week was, let me see here. Okay, looks like this needs to be updated. There was the JOLTS job openings. There's less of those, but that was not the big. The unemployment claims were not a big deal. This was the big one. The non-farm employment change on Thursday, that data, the ADP non-farm employment change, that was huge. Like I'm betting they're going to revise this data because you're saying that, like more than twice as many people have jobs in there, or actually more than twice as many people got new jobs as expected. That's a huge, huge difference as to what that just doesn't make any sense. I think they're going to come back and say, actually, so new data came in and, some story about how this actually isn't as good as they thought. Because this kind of information to have this much more jobs is the wisdom would be that Powell will keep rates up because the economy is supposedly strong through that kind of data, and it's going to push the dollar stronger and other assets down. And that was yesterday at 6:15 a.m. So to look at the EUR/USD, yesterday at 6:15 a.m. Super choppy waters, by the way. And this is what it looks like on a week when there's just not a lot going on. So right here in this, like what you're seeing, not a lot of movement, a lot of chop. It's not the best week to trade. So you had July 6th, which was yesterday at 6:15 a.m. my time. That's 8:15 EST, and the dollar got stronger, pushing the euro down, right? So this movement was the reaction, at least the first two candles were the reaction to the news, right? Now, the trend was generally bearish at the time. Lots of, lower high, lower lows. So it looked like the trend wanted to reverse right here and then got knocked back down temporarily, at least, by that news over a few hours worth of time. Now this morning, it's showing as if the dollar got super weak really quickly. And we'll knock down to the 5-minute chart to get a granular look at that. Let's see here. Now, I don't mind trading, once kind of prices stabilize and the crazy wicks are done doing their thing. And that's going to take at least 15, 30 minutes, maybe longer. But, you see today, like, let's go back to that. This was like the yesterday's news, more or less. The initial reaction was a hard candle down like this. And then there was a follow through. There's a bit of a follow through on that. And then today's is the opposite. Today's we get the, what's the data say here? Non-farm employment change was actually people lost jobs in that business. So what's the difference between the two? It's almost kind of unimportant, but let's see, Thursday, July 6th, ADP is going to be changing the number of employed people during the previous month, including farming, industry, and government, from Automatic Data Processing Inc., right? So that the source might be what's actually different because it's ADP. So here we get the non-farm employment, and it's the BLS. And the BLS's data is quite the opposite, but this is the non-farm. This is outside of farm. So what this is indicating is that, let's see, no, this is all non-farm. Yeah. Excluding farming, industry, and government. So that excludes government too, by the way, for ADP non-farm. And this one must include government because it doesn't mention that it excludes government. So the difference between the two is going to be the source, which one's the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the other's ADP. And then this one here includes government. So it must be that government lost a ton of jobs. And honestly, I don't believe that's the case. I don't think government's firing a whole lot of people right now, ever. So, that's what we're left to think. And it just seems like the numbers are awfully shaky. Like, am I really to believe these numbers? And we know that the numbers are manipulated. Like, it's just we don't know, but I think it's a pretty safe assumption. You have this reaction this morning that is quite the opposite of this, right? You have this kind of just a mini meltdown. It wasn't that big of a difference. It went from like $1.09 to like not even a percent. It's like, I mean, that's significant in a short period of time, but it went ahead and equalized like within hours, right? So this probably will do the same. This will probably equalize and go along the current trend, and the current trend is pretty flat. There really isn't not a lot of trend just because where we are in the market. It's just a short-term uptrend, so over the next like several hours, can probably expect price to just kind of compress within a range, I'm guessing. So again, it's not, that was sizable news. I mean, it was expected news. So I'm not really seeing like a lot of trading opportunities today. Plus, it's Friday. Friday's a day I tend to kind of study as opposed to, trade. I might scalp a little bit, kind of get in and take some quick trades and, pay for my lunch or something. But Friday, here's the thing. I certainly don't swing trade on Friday, right? Because I don't like to hold positions over the weekend. And by definition, swing trading is holding a trade overnight, or at least through the market close. So, I would scalp. So, I mean, perhaps, things are short-term bullish. So what I probably would do is look for, if I were to trade at all, and I probably won't. I'm guessing price might retreat. It might just go up from here, but it might retreat down to something like this and then go up. And then just look for a quick long, make a little cash on a Friday. Because it is short-term bullish. I mean, price really could just go up from here. That's very possible. So, so that is the EUR USD right now. And that's just kind of my Friday run through, if you take my meaning, right? So for now, I'm going to open it up to questions. See if anybody wants to see any particular charts. Gigi wants to know if government includes military. Yeah, pretty sure it does.
Yes.
This looks like Cool Cat wants to see Solana. I think Solana is due for a big move up. I think Solana is intact. I think it took a big hit because of its relationship to because of its relationship to FTX. It's kind of like the Bitcoin and MTGOX thing. So basically, Bitcoin was fine. Nothing wrong with Bitcoin. MTGOX crashed. Had to do with something that was MTGOX related. And everybody just kind of sold all their Bitcoin like, Bitcoin's trash. It's can't trust it. And it's like, no, it's not Bitcoin. It's MTGOX. And one of my buddies took full advantage of that and bought a bunch of Bitcoin when that happened. And now is a multimillionaire in Bitcoin alone. And doesn't want to do anything with it because he is silly. I'm
a crypto millionaire living in my mom's basement.
No, this guy actually makes a lot of money in the real world. He's like probably makes $500,000 a year. So it's not that important to him. Like he's got as much money in houses as he has Bitcoin. So to him, it's like whatever. But yeah, he just doesn't want to sell it. Doesn't want to deal with the taxes. I'm like, dude, I mean,
if he wants to sell it, have him talk to me. I'll take care of it for him.
You don't want to talk to this guy. Trust me. You ever dealt with an engineer?
Yeah. What you got to do is you got to get him out of his engineer thinking.
Yeah. Good luck. I've known this guy since high school.
You know how you do that?
Get him drunk.
You emotionally abuse him on the phone. You create a thunderstorm of emotion. You bring him to the edge, and then you pull him back. That's how you do it.
This guy's a robot. I'd be impressed to see you do it. I've known this guy a long time. He's just stubborn as they come.
Set the call up next week. Let's do it.
Yeah. So anyhow, you got this. I mean, Solana is on a bullish move. That's for sure. It's already broken its short-term kind of range and broken out. So to chart that, it's on the 108. It had developed a. Oh, you know what? I need to zoom in. No one can see you can see, but let me make this a little better, easier to see for people. Sorry about that, folks. All right, so there was this funky price action, probably to do with some news at the end of the month, and plus at the end of July, that was the end of the quarter. So you'll get a lot of weird price action at the end of the quarter, end of the month. I made a rule like a long time ago, no major, sized trades at the end of the month. That was the rule because wacky stuff happens. But you had price that is, in a range more or less, and it kind of broke out, fake out, breakout back into the range. So it's just on a higher high, kind of, not higher high, higher low. Well, one higher high, two higher highs. Now it's trying to break this next higher high. So from what I can see, I'm not that huge on channels, but it just seems like price is going to want to kind of slowly make its way in this direction until it doesn't. And then, maybe it'll do something different. It's a little early to say whether or not a channel is going to be like established. It's bullish though. So what I'm expecting is some kind of price action that's going to be crawling up until it catches fire, if it ever does. So it'll be possibly like this, like that. So I'd be using some kind of algo to catch the pullbacks, because I like to, that's how I like to trade. Let's kind of trade, try to buy the little dips. Whenever something is bullish, I look for pullbacks and I try to buy those. And I'll make sure they're past structure. So this is a pretty good, you can see that these lows are getting higher, and the next low very likely will bounce off of this area. So something like this. So this is your little tops here. So the next low, if I were to extend this line out, comme say, then the next one is going to probably bounce right off here. Very likely. And there's ways of getting in on a lower time frame and taking a look at things, but I'd wait probably for this pivot to happen before I did too much analysis, right? Let's see. Yeah, now that this pivot has not happened yet, I think we're going to see more up before we see down. So just what I drew. That's it. That's my analysis on Sol. So, fibs for pullbacks. Yeah, well, Cool Cat, you know what I do for my analysis on that. I wait for, in order to even use a fib, and I would use a fib, but it's not it's a confluence between Fibonacci and volume nodes, right? So let's just pretend we go back in time, and we're going to use the replay function, which is this rewind button at the top. We're going to go back in time to this move upward, and if I wanted to try to determine where this move upward is going to, well, it's going to be moved downward, right? So I'm expecting, let's just say my algo tells me that we've seen the flip, right? Or you can just observe it, observe it that the pivot's happened, right? So we'll move forward a couple of frames. Okay, pivot's pretty clearly happened. Okay, so now I'm like, okay, how far is this going to go, right? Well, I use the impulse right here. And I'm going to show you guys the impulse part and the fib part. And then there's another tool that we use that I don't talk about here live on YouTube. We'll go ahead and do that in the private. But I look at this 618. That's the most likely place. The 618 fib is probably where it's going to go to, right? And there's another tool that I'll bust out here in a few minutes. But let's just see how well the 618 works in and of itself. Pretty decent. Did make its way to the 786, almost did. And then you see price start to kind of move back up. Now, if you have a good algo, see there it is bouncing off 618 again. Might even make it, might even go to the 786. Yeah, came off the 786 right there. So that's your bounce, right? So, okay, maybe you entered along right there. You're still confident in that long, but then you see it dip down, maybe add to it. So that's why I don't go off fibs alone. I use other tools. So we're going to redo this in a minute, but first we're going to have the Gorilla give us that Gorilla send off here. And then we'll head over to the, man, my menu got all screwed up. Then we'll head over to the private show. Sorry, I got distracted a little bit. Throw the QR code up there. right now. So V, go ahead and send us off so I can complete this lesson, and we'll hop off here.
Folks, listen, don't hesitate, don't procrastinate. Join AlgoFactory.tech. Learn the techniques that can radically change your life. I mean, we're in here every single day, grinding it out with all of you, all the members here. So listen, if you're on the outside looking in, let's not be a spectator anymore. Join us. Don't leave money on the table. Radically change your life. Make a positive impact. Your bottom line, your bank account, your net worth, your time, your freedom. Join us. AlgoFactory.tech. Cowboy, take us.